Hey UTC, welcome to Mocs News. Get in on what's in store for the Lady Mocs as they relish in their SoCon win.
We also hope you are locking your vehicles around campus because we have a few thieves that could be at your car next, so stay tuned.
I'm Cassandra Castillo.
And I'm Lillian Simcox. Your news starts now.
Last January and February, there were multiple thefts in the connection to the Stoffel Garage and Lot 39 from parked vehicles. These incidents happened in the mornings around 3:40 a.m. and 2 o'clock a.m. The door to the garage was left propped open, which is how the perpetrators got in and were able to pursue break-ins to multiple cars of current UTC students. The UTC police have identified the suspects in these photos and they have been apprehended. If you ever need to report a crime on campus, please call UTC police at 423-425-4357.
The Freshman Senate hosted a tailgate for the men's basketball match against Samford. The tailgate was hosted at Chamberlain Field. Students could chat with members of Freshman Senate and grab some slices of pizza. They could even play cornhole. Senate members Kennedy Buford and Ashley Lowry explained the origins of the event.
So each group in Freshman Senate has one little event that they can do. We have a certain budget for it, and so we just chose to do a basketball tailgate because our committee is athletics and tradition.
Ashley hoped that tailgate would bring people together.
The Mocs are coming out dancing through the recent Southern Conference win. Catch them at the Roundhouse this weekend. Doors open at 7 o'clock.
The award-winning musical Into the Woods was presented February 28th to March 4th at UTC's Dorothy Hackett Award Theater. 21 cast members brought several fairy tale characters to life on a stage. After 2 months, the cast performed in front of a large audience after selling out twice. Stay tuned for their next play, Everybody, coming up April 18th. Tickets are available now on the UTC website.
How about this heat, huh?
Will it last? Let's find out for our Leonardo Vega.
Happy summer, spring break, Mocs. How about this totally normal 80-degree March weather, huh? We're looking ahead a week of continued high temperatures, although things will cool down a bit in the coming days, thankfully. Potential highs could get up to the mid-50s next week with a peak of 61 degrees next Friday. Although, we have a 100% chance of rain ahead on Sunday and potential storms next weekend. Mocs, even with some of this crazy cold weather, try to enjoy your spring break and try not to catch any crazy diseases either. Lillian and Cassandra, back to you.
Here's a look at an afternoon with Chilean singer and songwriter Pedro Abriles, who performed here on campus at the Aviary in the Stacy Town Center. This event was sponsored by Life Out Loud and Music Row residential learning communities. What a great event to embrace the culture of music here at UTC.
Room selection has already begun at UTC. As of today, March 10th, current students who complete their housing application will be assigned by UTC Housing. Check your emails from the university as you do not want to miss reminders from openings in room selections. Though if you plan to have a roommate group of 2 or more students and have yet to set up said group on UTC Housing website, then you have missed your chance. Additionally, updates for future deadlines can be found on utc.edu as well as the university's Instagram and Twitter. The Mocs men's basketball season has come to an end.
But the Lady Mocs are still going strong. We turn it over to Frankie Bolognani for sports.
Mocs men's basketball ended their season Monday after losing to Furman 88-79 in the SoCon championship game. Guard A.J. Caldwell led the effort with a double-double in the loss. On the other hand, the Lady Mocs are heating up as they have been crowned SoCon champions. Sophomore guard Addie Porter was named SoCon Athlete of the Week for her efforts throughout the tournament. We can expect to see the Lady Mocs in March Madness action starting next week. The NFL Combine went through a historic weekend with quarterback Anthony Richardson breaking the position record for vertical jump and tying the record for broad jump. His draft stock rises, but many analysts still question his ability to read a defense and move the ball downfield in the NFL. Lastly, problems arise in MLB spring games with the new pitching clock rule. Picture this. It's the top of the ninth, bases loaded, 3-2 count. The dream scenario for any baseball player. Cal Coney was set to bat with these implications when the pitching clock went off and the game ended without him even getting a chance to bat. Our very own crew here at Mocs News set the tone for the Hearst contest and came out on top. Jules Jackson placed 19th nationally in the Hearst competition on his project Movements of the Mill. His partners Cassandra Castillo and Jake Redfern had quite the experience working with Jules on this amazing accomplishment. Here's a look at what they had to say.
All right, today I am joined by Cassandra Castillo, Jules Jackson, and Jake Redfern, 3 UTC communication students, to discuss their recent win in the National Hearst competition, which I also heard Jules Jackson was placed in 19th place nationwide. Jules, can you go ahead and tell us about the Hearst and your project, Movements of the Mill?
Absolutely. So the Hearst is a national competition for student journalism. So all across the United States, communication and journalism students are encouraged to apply. And they have all kinds of different categories. They have categories for written stories, audio stories, video stories, just you name it. They have a competition for it. But this was a national competition for multimedia journalism. So that's where all of our video projects would go. And our professor, Billy Weeks, who kind of leads our Rising Rock class and student publication, had submitted one of my projects, Movements of the Mill, for the multimedia journalism competition, and it placed 19th out of 20 nationwide. So the top 20 people, the top 20 placements were published, and I was up there, and it was a huge surprise.
That is awesome to hear. Cassandra and Jake, can I ask you, what were your roles in making this production?
Yeah, so me and Cassandra pretty much just accompanied Jules. We helped set up equipment at the mill. We played the roles of cinematographers there. We helped coordinate. We chased people around. It was really hectic, but it was a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was my first time using the gimbal, which is just like a stabilizing tool for the camera, so everything just runs smooth because we were running around so much. So not only did I learn about videography and stuff like that more than I had learned just in class, but it was just like a fun experience to be within the dancers, and it was just really fun.
That sounds really fun, honestly. So, Jules, can you go ahead and explain this project and the significance of the meaning?
Absolutely. So Movements of the Mill is a project about the Pop-Up Project, which is a production company and sort of a dance troupe here in town. And they've been operating for a few years, but they do live dance performances as well as filmmaking, multimedia performances, things of that nature. And they had been commissioned to do a performance in the Standard Cusa Thatcher Mill Complex. So essentially, Standard Cusa Thatcher used to be a textile mill here in Chattanooga. And a lot of people here worked there. A lot of families were kind of reliant on their employment there. And they built up a mill town around the mill. So they had like churches, schools, community centers, things like that, baseball teams around the mill. And over the years, the mill sort of, it ceased operation. So it had become sort of an abandoned site. But then it was purchased by Collier Construction. And they're actually going to turn it into a mixed income housing development, but they had commissioned the Pop-Up Project to do a performance there before it was changed. So the performance is really about the history of the mill and the workers who labored there and what they were creating and kind of honoring that legacy. And I felt like doing a project about sort of the contemporary interpretation of that history could unite a historical site with contemporary issues, contemporary concerns, and artistic expression. I kind of played the role of director on this project, so I did also shoot some video, but I really more kind of like directed and edited the project, and then Jake and Cassandra helped me film it. So we all worked together as a team.
That's really nice. We mentioned in the beginning that you were one of the nationwide winners. Can we ask, what did you win?
So for me, as 19th place, I think it's just the honorable mention. I did not win like a cash award or anything, but it's still a huge honor to be mentioned. And I mean, 19th nationwide is huge. So this is published. This is just like an honor. So yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys. And lastly, for Jules, so what was your reaction when you found out that you won?
My reaction, I was really floored. First of all, our professor that we previously mentioned, Billy Weeks, he decided to kind of play a prank on me when he told me. So he actually told me that I was in trouble and that I needed to come see him. And another one of our professors, Angelique Gibson, was in on it. So I was going to a class with her this morning. I only found out this morning. And I was going to a class with her, and she told me, you need to go see Billy because you're in trouble with Billy. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And she was like, well, he just said of concern. Something was of concern. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds serious. So I went down. He was in Chamberlain Field, and I went downstairs to meet him. And on the way down, I was thinking, like, what could I have done? What did I get in trouble for? And my friend was there with Billy, and he told me that I looked grim when I was approaching. And then Billy told me the good news, and he showed me where my name had been published and that I had been honored with this mention. And I was completely floored. I was really excited. And I still am. I mean, it's only been a couple of hours, so this is still very new, so I'm just processing it. But it's great to because all three of us worked our butts off for this project. It was a lot of work and, a lot of hours spent to make it really impactful. So it's really nice to see that hard work pay off. It's really nice to get some recognition for what we've done. So yeah, I'm very, very thankful. And I have to give a shout out not only to these guys, but also to Billy for really, he was the one that kind of suggested that I focus on this for my project. So I have to give a big shout out to Billy, big shout out to Jules Downham of the Pop-Up Project as well, who sat down with me for an interview for the piece, and all of my colleagues in Rising Rock and in the communication department.
That's awesome. Movements of the Mill. Well, Cassandra and Jake, do you see yourselves doing anything more in film production?
Absolutely. I'm currently interning with some documentary filmmakers because through my college career, this is where I found my passion, and I hope to absolutely pursue that, whether it's for marketing with filming or, heck, making my own films. So absolutely to that question.
Yeah, I can also agree to that. This is something I see in my future, something I hope to keep doing in my career and further on. And I'm just very glad that I started here with Rising Rock especially. It's taught me so much, and I'm taking all of that and just going to implement it in my future endeavors.
Well, once again, I'd like to wish everybody congratulations on your film. And this was this edition to Mocs News.
That's this edition of Mocs News. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to keep up with us on our Facebook page.
We are also on Twitter and YouTube. Have a good spring break.